In 1960, John F. Kennedy faced Richard M. Nixon in a fight to become president. John F. Kennedy received 303 electoral votes, while Richard M. Nixon received 219 electoral votes. For popular votes, John F. Kennedy received 34,226,731. He became our 35th president in 1961 until his term was cut short in 1963. Today, I'm going to be talking about how John F. Kennedy was one of the best presidents, his view on politics, and why I think his death shaped America. He said, "Democracy and defense are not substitutes for one another. Either alone will fail." First, I'm going to start off with John F. Kennedy's presidency. People think it's funny because in the debate in 1960, John F. Kennedy against Richard Nixon, people wanted a good-looking president. People think that is the reason why he was elected as president, but really, Kennedy had bigger plans for America. He believed in the power of education and a strong military force. He pushed schools into more math and science because he wanted to improve the space program. The Soviet Union had made it to the moon, and he was determined that America would do too. It only happened a couple years after his death. In 1963, when Martin Luther King had his speech, he had the expansion of civil rights. He helped more African Americans get jobs, and he wanted to break the barrier between white people and black people. He also raised the unemployment rate because he wanted to help the average person. John F. Kennedy's view on the country was how the country should run was different than other presidents before him. He had desegregation in the military. He called for a country that was united by common desire. He wanted us to fight and eliminate the enemies, our terror, poverty, disease, and the war. He wanted to create peace between all the countries. He created a program called the New Frontier Program. It aimed to help funds for education, the medical care for the elderly, economic aid to rural regions, and the government's fight against recession. He issued an Area Redevelopment Act on the areas suffering from unemployment. He wanted the average person to be affected by his decisions. He wanted to raise the unemployment rate. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, he diverted Cuba from setting off their missiles on the United States. He overall tried to protect the United States as much as he possibly could. He was part of the military prior to becoming president, so he wanted the country to be very strong and united within each other. The assassination of John F. Kennedy was one of the most devastating to the American people. It happened on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. It was partially conspiracy theories that there are many out there still today. There's a combination of suspects, and they don't really know who did it. Lee Harvey Oswald took the blame. The Watergate scandal was part of the conspiracy because Richard M. Nixon had created very hectic things against John F. Kennedy, which was still around during this period of time. He overall was one of the best presidents because he really helped your average Joe rather than helping just one specific thing at a time. He wanted to help everybody. Today I talked about how John F. Kennedy was one of the best presidents because of the fact that he tried to better shape America for the better. His view on the politics, how he just tried little things at a time to help unite the country and fight enemies. And his death shaped America because he's still a legacy. People better respect the Army because of him. People better respect the space program because of him. He just really did a really good job as president. So I quote John F. Kennedy, "My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country."